Hello students, in this lecture we will see examples. So let's see examples on congruences. So show that 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1. So here 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1 means what? So by using definition of congruence, here we have to show that 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1. So let's see, here we divide this number by 41, means we use modulo 41 property. So note that here I will first write 2 raised to 20 or 2 raised to something power which divides 41. So here I will write 2 raised to 5. So 2 raised to 5 is nothing but 32. When divided by 32, so 32 divided by 41, then we will get 32. When divided by 41, then we will get congruence minus 9. So what is this? So because we have the definition 41, or we know that if A congruous to B modulo n, then this can be written as, so n divides A minus B, right? So this is definition, means here 41 divides 32, here minus 9, so on left side we will get plus 9, so which implies that 41 divides, so addition of these two is 41, right? So this is the definition. So we can write the in terms of powers of 2. So 2 raised to 5 is nothing but 32, and 32 is congruous to minus 9 when divided by 41, right? So here we will get, so this is 32, so there 32 can be written as 2 raised to 5 which is congruous to minus 9 when divided by 41. Then so I will take fourth power of that on both sides, because here we want 2 raised to 20 power. So taking fourth power, so what will we get? So 2 raised to 5. So 2 raised to 5 is nothing but 32. Means what? This can be written as 2 raised to 5 is congruous to minus 9 modulo 41, right? So taking fourth power, so what will we get? 2 raised to 5 raised to fourth power is congruous to minus 9 raised to 4 modulo 41, right? So 2 raised to 5 raised to fourth power, so taking multiplication 5 into 4 which is 20. So 2 raised to 20 is congruous to, what will we get? So minus 9, I will write it as minus 9 square, or I will write minus 9 square and whole square, means power will be 4 when divided by 41. So minus 9 square is 81 square, and here 2 raised to 20 modulo 41. Now again, if I divide 81 by 41, then what will be the remainder? So here if I divide 81 by 41, if I take quotient 1, then what will be the remainder? So subtraction of this will be 40. Now this can be again written as 81 is equal to, if I take quotient 2, then so 41 into 2 is 82. So 81 minus 82, so remainder is minus 1, right? Means what? When divided by 41 to the number 81, we will get quotient 2, and here remainder is minus 1. So I will write here 81, means this can be written as 81 is congruous to minus 1 modulo 41, right? Means what? 41 divides 81 plus 1, means the addition of these two numbers is 82, right? So 41 divides 82. So here this is the, then therefore the quotient when divided by 41 is minus 1. So this is minus 1 square. So 2 raised to 20 minus 1 square modulo 41. So minus 1 square is plus 1. So 2 raised to 20 is congruous to 1 modulo 41, right? So by using definition of congruence, what we write? 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1, hence the proof, right? Let's see another example. I will take find example, find the remainder, find the remainder when 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus up to plus 4 factorial plus up to so on plus 2019 factorial is divided by 24. So to find remainder when divided by 24, so let's see the solution. So this addition is divided by 24, so what will be the remainder? Now let's see, 24 is nothing but, now 24 can be written as 24 is nothing but 4 factorial, right? And 4 factorial is divided by 4 factorial, right? So here 4 factorial does not divide 1 factorial, 4 factorial doesn't divide 2 factorial, 4 factorial doesn't divide 3 factorial, because these numbers are less than this, right? So 4 factorial divides, so I will write 4 factorial divides 4 factorial, because 4 factorial has value 24 divides 24. Now 5 factorial can be written as 4 factorial into 5, right? Means what? 4 factorial divides 5 factorial, and means in similar ways 4 factorial divides 6 factorial, 4 factorial divides 7 factorial, means what? Here remainder is 0, means here directly 4 factorial divides 5 factorial means remainder should be 0. So here in numbers which is greater than or equal to 4 factorial always divides that numbers, right? Means what? In that case we will get remainder is 0. So here we will write, so 24 which nothing but 4 factorial, and when divided by 4 factorial, when divided by 24, so 4 factorial divided by 24, then remainder is always 0. So for every k greater than or equal to 4, where k belongs to set of integers, means for every k greater than or equal to 4 we will get always 4 factorial is congruous to 0 modulo 24. So what is k factorial? So k factorial for every k greater than or equal to 4, I will write k factorial is equal to 4 factorial into 5 into 6 into 7 into up to so on k, which congruous to 0, means this number always congruous to 0 when divided by 24, right? So for every integer k greater than or equal to 4, so can be written as 4 factorial into 5 into 6 into 7 into up to so on k, which congruous to 0 when divided by 24, means this number is greater than or equal to like this, means 4 factorial, 5 factorial and so on. This number when divided by 24 will always get remainder 0, means only remaining numbers will be 1 factorial, 2 factorial and 3 factorial. So addition of these three numbers and when divided by 24 is the remainder only, right? So hence what will we get? So this number can be written as 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 4 factorial plus up to so on 2019 factorial is congruous to. So when 1 factorial is divided by 24, then remaining 1 factorial. Next 2 factorial will remain 2 factorial. Next 3 factorial remain 3 factorial. Now 4 factorial means 24 divides 4 factorial, so remainder is 0. Next again 24 divides again 5 factorial, because 5 factorial is nothing but 4 factorial into 5. So 4 factorial divides 4 factorial into 5, right? So remainder again 0, and plus up to so on remainder 0 when divided by modulo 24. So 0 modulo 24, right? So which is congruous to. So addition of these two number, 1 factorial means 1 plus 2 factorial means 2 plus 3 factorial is 6 modulo 24. So this addition is nothing but 9 modulo 24. So remainder should be 9 when divided by 24 for the equation 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 4 factorial plus up to so on 2019 factorial. Hence 0 is the remainder when 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus up to so on 2019 factorial when divided by 24. Here is the solution of this, right? Now next we will see very important theorem, which is Fermat theorem. So the statement is Fermat's theorem. So the theorem so the statement of the theorem, Fermat's theorem. So the statement is, let P be a prime and suppose let P be prime and suppose P does not divide A, then A raised to P minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo P. So we will prove this theorem. So what we have, A doesn't divide A. So P doesn't divide A means what? GCD of these two number will be 1, because for example, so here 2 does not divide 5 means what? GCD, greatest common divisor between these two number will be 1. For example, again 2 does not divide 7, right? So GCD of 2 and 7 is again 1 means what? Here P does not divide A, then GCD of that two number will be 1, right? So we will prove this theorem. So P is the prime number and here A raised to P minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo P when divided by P. So here proof, let's see the proof of the theorem. So we have given P is the prime number and P doesn't divide A. So consider the first P minus 1 positive multiples of A. Consider the first P minus 1 positive multiples of A, that is the integers which are A. So we will take first P minus 1 positive multiples of A. So first A, next twice A, thrice A, 4A, up to so on P minus 1 into A. These are all multiples of A. First P minus 1 multiples of A. So this is nothing but equation number 1. Now in this multiples, so no two elements are means there is no two elements which give same remainder when divided by P. For example, suppose I have the prime number 5. I will take the numbers which are multiples of, suppose I will take multiples of 2. So 2, next 2 into 2, next 3 into 2, next 4 into 2, right? These are 4 positive multiples of 2, right? So in that, when divided by 5, so there is no any two number which gives same remainder when divided by 5, right? So here P is 5 and I will take A is equal to 2, right? So here 2 into 2, 3 into 2, 4 into 2. Or if I take prime number 3 is the prime number. So here I will take first P minus 1 means what? First two positive multiples of A. So these are the two positive multiples. So here 2 and here 2 into 2, right? Because P minus 1 which is 2. So 2 and this is multiplication is 4. When divided by 3, so what will we get? So 2 is congruent to 2 modulo 3 and 4 divided by 3 modulo 3. So what will be the remainder? 4 when divided by 3, which is 1, because 4 minus 1 will be 3. So here remainder is 2, here remainder is 1, means any two number which don't get same remainder when divided by p, right? So here what will I say? No two of these numbers are congruent modulo p. No two numbers are congruent modulo p means what? There is no two elements which give same remainder, right? So here I have taken p is equal to 3, a is equal to 2. So if I take p is equal to 2, p is equal to 3, then first p minus 1 means 2 multiples of a, which is 2, and 2 into 2. So this is nothing but 2 and 4, which don't get same remainder. If I get same remainder, then I don't get like this sequence, right? So here we get no two of these numbers are congruent modulo p. Suppose I will assume that there is two numbers which get which congruous to each other. So for if suppose RA is congruous to SA modulo p, means there is two numbers which congruous to each other, means RA congruous to SA modulo p. So condition on R and S is nothing but 1 less than equal to R, S less than P, and we know that P does not divide A, means what? GCD of P and A is nothing but 1, and GCD of A and P is equal to 1. So by using property, so RA congruous to SA modulo P, and if GCD of A and P is equal to 1, then we will cancel A throughout. So by using cancellation law, what we will get? So we cancel A, because GCD of A and P is equal to 1, then we cancel A. Or by using property that if this can be written as P divides RA minus SA, take A outside, so P divides A into R minus S. Then we know that if P divides A into P, then either P divide A or P divide B, right? So but GCD of A and P is equal to 1 means what? P does not divide A. We know that this condition means what will we get finally? B divides B, right? Similarly here P does not divide A, then what will we get? P divides R minus S, and P divides R minus S means what? So by cancelling A, so R congruous to S modulo P. So P divides R minus S means what? R congruous to S modulo P. What will we? This is the condition, R congruous to S modulo P. And condition on R and S is 1 less than equal to R, S less than P. So which is the contradiction to our assumption? Which is contradiction. Hence no two numbers in equation 1 are congruent modulo P, because if this is congruent means what? R and S will be the same number when divided by P, but R and S are distinct number which lies between 1 and P. Hence which is the contradiction that no two numbers in equation 1 can be congruent to modulus P. Thus what we say? Thus the P minus 1 numbers in equation 1 leave different remainder when divided by P, Therefore set of integers in equation 1 must be congruent. Therefore set of integers in equation 1 must be congruent congruent modulo p to the numbers 1, 2, 3 up to so on p minus 1 taken in some order, means set of integer in equation 1. So means this equation when divided by p we will get remainder 1, 2, 3 up to so on p minus 1, which is in order, means sometimes remainder we will get 2, sometimes we get 3, sometimes we get 1, sometimes we get p minus 1. So in order we will get all the numbers 1, 2, 3 up to so on p minus 1 taken in some order. So multiplying all these congruences together we get multiplying all these congruences together, we find that so multiplying all these congruences and when divided by p, so what will we get? So this congruence a into twice a into thrice a into 4a into up to so on p minus 1 into a, and this congruence to now this number when divided by p, so we will get remainder 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into up to so on p minus 1 numbers in random way, in some order. So when divided by modulo p, so here a is multiplied by p minus 1 time, right? So this can be written as a raised to p minus 1, and here 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into up to so on p minus 1, means this is nothing but p minus 1 factorial, and which is congruence to, so here 1 into 2 into 3 into up to so on p minus 1, which is nothing but p minus 1 factorial divided by p, means modulo 4, right? So here we know that if p is prime number, if I take p is 3, p is equal to 3, and I take p minus 1 factorial, so p minus 1 is nothing but 2 factorial. So we see that p minus here p does not divide p minus 1 factorial, right? P is 3 and 3 doesn't divide 2 factorial, right? Means what? GCD of p and p minus 1 factorial is nothing but 1. So here we will cancel p minus 1 factorial on both sides. So here GCD of p and p minus 1 factorial is equal to 1. So cancelling p minus 1 factorial on both sides, or I will write here p does not divide p minus 1 factorial, therefore cancelling p minus 1 factorial on both sides. So what will we get? Now we cancel p minus 1 factorial both side, we get, what will we get? So p minus 1 factorial cancel, so finally I get a raised to p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p, and hence the proof of the theorem, if p does not divide a, then a raised to p minus 1 factorial. So if a raised to p minus 1 factorial congruent to 1 modulo p when p does not divide a, hence the proof, right? And by using this Fermat theorem, next we will see corollary, which is Euler's theorem by using Fermat theorem. So the corollary, which is Euler's theorem. So the statement is, if p is a prime number, if p is a prime, and then a raised to p is congruent to a modulo p for any integer a, So here in Fermat's theorem we have the condition p b prime, and condition here is there p does not divide a, then we have shown here a raised to p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. Now in this example, in this corollary, p is prime number and there is no condition on a, and here directly we have given any integer a where a raised to p is congruent to a modulo p. Now we will prove this theorem by using two ways. If first case p divide a and second case p does not divide a. So let's see the proof of theorem. Now if p divides a, then so we know that the property that if p divides a, then p must divide a into b for b belongs to any set of integers, right? So here p divides a, then I will write p divides a into, so I will take a as common, then a raised to p minus 1 minus 1, right? So by using definition, what will we get? Here p divides a, then p must divide a into a raised to p minus 1. For example, 5 divides 5, then 5 must divide, or I will write here any integer, so I will take 2 divides 4, then 2 must divide 20, right? Because this can be written as 2 divides 4 into 5, right? That's why I have write p divides a, then p must divide a into a raised to p minus 1, and this can be written as, so after taking multiplication, so p divides, so multiplying this a raised to p minus a, and this can be written as, by using definition of congruence, a raised to p is congruent to a modulo p. Hence if p divide a, then finally I get a raised to p congruent to a modulo p, right? Means the first case. Now if p does not divide a, and if p does not divide a, then we know that then by Fermat's theorem, what will we get by Fermat's theorem? A raised to p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p, right? Then what will we get? So p divides, by the definition of congruence, p divides a raised to p minus 1 minus 1, right? So if p divides this, then p must divide a into a raised to p minus 1 minus 1, because if p divides a, then p must divide a into b for b belongs to set of integers, right? So similarly like this, so means what? P divides a raised to p minus, multiplying this a raised to p minus a, means what? By using definition of congruence, a raised to p congruent to a modulo p. This is for the case p doesn't divide a. He means in both the cases, if p divides a, then we get a raised to p congruent to a modulo p, and if p doesn't divide a, then we get a raised to p congruent to a modulo p, right? Hence in both cases we get result. Therefore in both cases p divides a and p doesn't divide a, we get what we get? A raised to p is congruent to a modulo p. This is the Euler's theorem. Okay, we will stop here. Thank you.